My name is Sharon Marama, and I'm the Executive Director of Connor's Kindness Project. As a small nonprofit with limited resources, when we were looking for feedback on our website, it was important to find the right person for the job. And wow, Jenny really delivered. Her audit gave us new ideas and valuable insight. We're looking forward to working with her on phase 2 to further develop the progress of the site. It goes without saying that Connor's Kindness Project highly recommends Jenny B Designs.
Welcome to Website Design Made Simple, the podcast for busy small business owners who want a high-performing website that converts and sells their offers, even while they're sleeping. Because you deserve to have a strategic and beautiful website that truly represents your brand and positions you as the expert that you are. I'm your host, Jenny B, web designer and creative director at Jenny B Designs, where we believe that your website is the one thing that makes you sales and builds your brand at the same time. Ready to say goodbye to a website that you're embarrassed to share? And hello to a money-making, personality-packed powerhouse? Let's head into today's episode. So here's what's funny. 100 episodes ago, I was sitting at my desk looking at this expensive camera that I had just ordered 2 months ago because I have been trying to make videos for my business on YouTube. And honestly, it just wasn't my thing. I wasn't feeling comfortable sitting in front of the camera, having to wear outfits, put on my makeup, get all ready, set the lights, and record. But I loved the ability to share with you, with my audience, my knowledge about websites to help you better your small business website. So I put down the camera and I picked up a microphone that I got on Amazon, plugged it in to my desktop, and I thought, what if I just talked instead? And I did. And here we are 100 episodes later. I did a lot of research about what podcasters typically do to celebrate their 100th episode. And a lot did a best of episode where they take their best interviews, because many podcasts are interview style, and they share it with their audience, or highlights or FAQs, answer questions, things like that. Today, I thought I would share with you lessons that I have learned through podcasting over these 100 episodes. But because I am me and I can't just have an episode all about me, I really tend to need to make it about my audience because I'm here to serve you and to share my knowledge with you. What I thought might be cool was to be able to take the lessons that I've learned and twist it so that you could apply these same lessons to your website, your small business website, and for your business to better both of those. So let's get into the episode. I am so excited to have you here and grateful, and thank you so much for listening to my 100th episode. This is really exciting. And I just want to take a minute and just mark this achievement, because it's been great to have you along this journey, whether you just started listening to me or have you been there from the start. I truly, truly appreciate you. Today, I want to talk about lessons that I've learned through podcasting over 100 episodes and how you can apply these lessons to your small business website. The first one that I want to share is that consistency beats perfection. I always say progress over perfection. I think this is true in so many things. This is true in my podcasting journey. I know at the beginning, I wasn't sure what to say or how to say it and share it with my audience in a way that would resonate with you. And because I did start over on YouTube, the style was a little bit different. And over here in podcasting, I find it a little bit more casual and more of a conversation. And in the beginning, I wasn't sure of if what I was doing was right. But I thought, I just have to keep going. Just keep doing this. You can learn. You can get better with every episode. I take the feedback that I get from all of my listeners and put it into my future episodes. And again, I just keep going. And how you can put this into effect on your website is that progress over perfection. You might not have the most beautiful design that you've ever wanted with your website. It may, in fact, not look like how you want it to look. But that's okay. Here's the thing. Instead of waiting to have that perfect redesign, take a few small steps every day And I share what some of these small steps could be in pretty much every single episode that I talk about. Things that you can do, small updates that you can make regularly, and they make a big difference. Your website visitors, they want progress, not perfection. So if you can, think about making one small website improvement this week instead of waiting for having enough time or enough energy or enough investment for a full website overhaul. Do what you can now. Small steps make a true difference. Lesson number 2 is that I truly believe that your community, your audience, anyone who listens to your podcast in terms of podcasting, they want authenticity. They don't care so much about being perfect and being polished. And maybe that's the biggest thing I learned over in YouTube versus here. But authenticity truly wins. Who you are, just sharing, in your voice, in your style, what makes sense for your audience. And these personal stories that I share with you and the mistakes get more engagement versus when I have an episode where I'm not fumbling over my words occasionally, or I share everything that's perfect to a T. How this translates to your website is that I think you can put that in the terms of two things, your voice and the images that you share on your website. The first being your images, real photos of you, not stock photos, not photos of you from 10 years ago, but real photos of who you are in your business today can make a big difference. And the second way is through your words, the copy on your website, understanding what your business voice is and using that in the business voice of today, not from 10 years ago. When your visitor gets to your website, they will see the authentic you, the authentic you-ness of your business versus just a facade that you're putting out. And thinking about how you can put this into practice, a good place to start would be maybe on your About page. Look at your About page. Is there something that you can share that's personal to you? And I did an episode, number 82, Make Your Website's About Page Personal Without Oversharing, on ways that you can do this. And you don't have to share everything in your life that's going on, but there are ways to add a little twist to make it a little bit more personable. And while you're there on that page, look at your pictures. When was the last time you updated those? And do you have a picture of you on that page? It's super important to have. The third lesson that I've learned is the topics and the content that I am most hesitant or afraid to share truly connects the most. There were a few different case studies that I've done over the last 100 episodes. And I stopped and I thought, does anyone really want to hear me walking through someone's website and the strategy behind things and why I made certain decisions and the final product? And to be honest, those episodes have been some of my best listened to episodes. People do want to hear what I want to share. And I hesitated, I think, because it was something that I didn't know if people would resonate with. To me, when I'm sharing an episode, and you can probably tell by this episode, I'm all about giving value and giving concrete advice and tips and tricks that you can do and implement immediately into your website. In those case study episodes, I was hesitant because it was more of a narrative and more of sharing about my thinking and the ways that you can apply these things to your website. And truthfully, you all told me that you really enjoyed them. And I think that you can apply this to your website by thinking of your unique perspective. That's your competitive advantage. What is your signature style? I have a signature style on how I do website projects, and I share about this on my website. What is your signature style? Do you have a signature process? Do you have a way that you work with clients that's super special? Or maybe you think about your industry or something that you do that's a little bit different than how everyone else does. What makes you different makes you valuable. How can you put that into your website if you don't already have it in your process? Maybe on your About page. I'm interrupting this episode to ask you a question. Is your website working as hard as you are? You've invested in a website, but if visitors aren't becoming paying clients, something's missing. My website audit is a professional review where I will analyze your site and identify exactly what's blocking conversions. You'll get a prioritized action plan with specific changes to turn more browsers into buyers. So stop guessing what's wrong and get some clear answers. Book your website audit today. The link is in the show notes. Now back to the episode. Maybe it's on your homepage because people are wondering right away and you want to share something. So that would be lesson number 3 that I've learned. Now, number 4, this is an important one. You don't need a big audience. You need the right audience. When I started podcasting, I don't think I knew what a podcast typically got for downloads. You think about all those big podcasters and you know that they're getting millions of downloads per episode. And I know that's not me, but where do the rest of the small business podcasts fall into? And at the beginning, I was truly concerned about the numbers and why aren't my numbers going up and why am I not gaining hundreds of followers every week? But the reality is that number 1, not all podcasts are going to have high listenership, especially when you have a niche podcast. And number 2, having fewer engaged listeners versus so many ones that aren't engaged or the wrong listeners makes a difference. And I know that everyone who listens to this podcast comes back because they find value here and they want to learn something and they want to learn from me. And this has become my community, and I truly value each and every single one of you as a listener. How you can apply this to your website is that it is better for your website to attract 10 ideal clients than 100 of the wrong ones. And how do you do this? You write copy and have imagery that attracts these ideal clients. And truth be told, it's going to detract or repel the ones that are wrong. And you want that. You might see fewer visitors to your website than a friend that has a small business as well. But it's important to know that the people who are coming to your site are the right audience. And it's okay if it's less if it is the right audience. Thinking about your website, try auditing your messaging. See if you're speaking to everyone or if you're speaking to someone specific. That can make a real difference in attracting those right clients. The next lesson is that I've learned teaching your method truly makes you the expert. Explaining my processes on the podcast or explaining how I work with clients or my strategic thinking behind everything that I do has made me better at it. I'm able to better explain what I do when I meet someone in person or when I'm having a consultation call or when I'm thinking about something that I want to write because I have talked about it on the podcast in so many times in so many different ways. It's made me better at it. How you can apply this to your website is that make sure you're sharing your methodology. What makes you you, your signature process. Sometimes we fear that if we give away too much knowledge, people aren't going to want to work with us. And a lot of times I hear about this when we have freebies on our website or if we give things away for free. I don't want to give a potential client everything that they need to know because they might not hire me. But in fact, that's not true. I don't think that you can ever give away too much knowledge. There's a difference between having someone understand what needs to be done and actually doing what needs to be done. And a lot of us would love to know how to do something, but we might not necessarily have the time or the resources or even the inclination on what to actually make it happen. Think about your website and understanding that giving away more knowledge creates more opportunity than it actually costs. It's a good thing to give away knowledge. Look at your website. Think about your process section or how I work, or if there is a blog post that you can write or some kind of content that you can share, and share it out. Don't be afraid to give away your information because I've learned that when I give away as much information as possible, and I have clients coming to me who listen to the podcast, we are aligned from start to finish on every single thing that needs to be done. They understand how I'm looking at things. They understand my strategy, my process, and we can make a better team. I want to encourage you to not be afraid to share because those right ideal clients will come and find you. Teaching your method, sharing your method makes you the expert. The next thing I learned is that my message gets clearer through repetition. And I have a hard time with repetition. I'm starting to get better with this, but saying the same thing like 100 different ways has helped me find my voice. I am able to share what I want to share, but in so many different ways. And how you can apply this on your website is don't be afraid to repeat your core messaging throughout your site. Not everyone is going to read every single word, and they're not going to digest it every single time the same way. It takes people, 7+ times to actually take that action, to reach out to you, to make a connection. Don't be afraid to repeat that core message. Thinking about your website, if you identify your core message, and if you don't know what it is, then it might be time to think about that. Make sure that you're weaving it through every single page on your website. Again, repetition is what makes your message clear. The next lesson is that the ROI on this podcast isn't always financial. There's so much more to podcasting. It's not only to make more money, which, of course, that is one of the goals of this podcast. I want to find my ideal clients and call them in and work with them. But so much more has come from my podcasting over the last 100 episodes. The confidence that I have gained from, again, sharing my message in very similar but different ways, repeating that clear messaging, the relationships that I built with clients, with people who have been listeners, with some of the guests that I've had over the years, opportunities that I've gained through podcasting. I've done a bit of guesting. I have done a bit of speaking to different groups. And of course, I share the podcast is one of the things in my portfolio. There are so many different things, and the return isn't always financial. This can apply to your website that it's not just a lead generator. I do believe that your website needs to make you money. It needs to generate those leads, but it can do other things as well. And one of those things is building your reputation, increasing your thought leadership. That is another way that your website can serve you. And if you keep this in mind, thinking beyond the conversions, and when it comes to your website, do you have anything on your website that you can add? Perhaps you have been doing some speaking. You've been making some appearances. Is there a page on your website that reflects that? Or if you are trying to build your thought leadership, do you have a blog? Could you be sharing some articles about your signature process or what you truly believe, sharing on your website? Think beyond the conversions. How else can your website serve you? And then finally, the last lesson that I've learned is that community just shows up and builds itself around you when you show up authentically and who you are. The podcasting reality is that over the last 100 episodes, a community has really grown around this podcast. People know me as having a podcast. I've had a lot of conversations that start with, oh, I listened to this episode and this is what I've learned. Where people have connected me with other people, shared my podcast. I offer mini audits on some of my audit episodes, and some of the people who have been on those episodes have shared me with their friends and their, coworkers and things like that. And this community has been formed around this show, and it's something that I am so grateful for. And I know that it came because I am showing up every single week authentically as myself and just sharing with my community and my audience what I know and what I think can help you grow. And when that comes to your website can be and should be the hub of your community, the people around you. Focus on serving. And I truly think that the business will follow. You cannot give too much. That's truly my opinion. And if you think about your website, are you sharing on there? Do you have resources for your potential clients? Are you sharing in the form of a blog or maybe a page on your website that shares tools and resources that you think that your potential audience might enjoy? How can you focus on serving and truly the business will follow? Those are some of the lessons that I've learned over the last 100 episodes. The first is progress over perfection. The second is that your community wants to listen to the authentic you. And it matters if you're being authentic, if you're actually being who you are supposed to be. The third is the content that I was most hesitant to share truly connected the most. Fourth, you don't need a big audience. You just need the right audience. Fifth, your message gets clearer through repetition. Sixth, the return on investment on the podcast wasn't always financial. There was so much more than just financial. And then finally, community shows up and builds itself around you when you show up authentically as who you are. And there's a theme there. I think it's truly about embracing who you're meant to be and being the authentic you. And that can be brought out in your website as well. So to sum it up, I just want to thank you so much for listening. I truly appreciate your support. And it's been a joy to share with everyone over the last 100 episodes. And I'm really excited for my next 100 episodes. So until next time, I'll talk to you then. And that wraps up another episode of Website Design Made Simple. I hope you found the insights shared in this episode valuable and takes you one step closer to creating a website that attracts more of your ideal clients and builds your brand. If you enjoyed this episode, please take a minute to leave a review on Apple Podcasts or a rating on Spotify. Your review will help us reach more small business owners like you who are ready to make more money with their website. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you in the next episode.